Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT News. Champions is just a couple of days away, but one of the big questions going around into Champions is that we believe the franchise teams may well be confirmed over the coming days, potentially during or just after the World Championship concludes. As soon as that happens, teams can start to lock in players for the upcoming season. Stewie2k reckons that he has offers from certain teams going potentially into the franchise side of things, and Shroud also talking about the Sentinels possibility and why none of those players know for sure where they're going to be next year. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Really important information here from Will Wider to start out the video with, potential, favorite player foods on the menu right here. Pretty interesting selection actually, in fairness. Now, just wanted to talk about this because a few days ago we mentioned the fact that this mage agent, right, and the potential, the potential of the new abilities that this new agent might indeed have. Now, apparently this is actually faked, and it's kind of interesting how impressively this was done. Obviously this leak came out the other day and it looked kind of interesting with the blue hat, in fairness, but of course we talked about it as potentially viable and everyone was talking up within the scene. Now this guy makes another TikTok here to explain how he actually photoshopped from Cypher through to this new agent mage to change the logos around and stuff like this and put in the new text to actually effectively fool the entire community. So pretty fair stuff. Now look, at the end of the day, I know some people were saying that actually what's happened here is that someone has faked the fake and it's actually real. I kind of doubt that, right? You can see the footage right here of photoshopping away all that stuff, putting it back in with a new technology or with what the new abilities are for the mage character, and then taking everything else and putting in the kind of blue character model. And I think there was a kind of confusion at the time that when these leaks were coming out for FaZe, she already had a character model in the game rather than it being kind of blue as it was here. So probably that adds fuel to the fire, the fact that this is not legitimate at all, and was indeed faked by this guy. So congratulations, you played everyone. But I suppose new abilities may be leaked relatively soon for this new agent. I suppose we shall go on and see. Let's talk franchising. Apparently more chaos in the APAC side in terms of which 10 teams are going to get confirmed. Seemingly everything was okay for that region in terms of which organizations were coming through, many that we might expect, even though we did see a few days ago that some of these organizations for APAC might not be the best teams right now, but rather the organizations with the best funding long term. Now, the order situation is confusing, right? So the idea was there was going to be 3 Japanese teams, 3 Korean teams, other teams from around the region within the 10 rosters. Now, and there was going to be 1 Oceania team, right, from Australia, New Zealand, that region where Team Order were the key candidates. They have since gone insolvent, I believe. They basically run out of money, and therefore the question has been, can Riot get another organization from that region to step in and fill the Oceania spot? Do they just cut that spot entirely, which seems like a bad thing to do, or can they get another organization from around the world, maybe a North American or a European organization that's just on the border of getting into the actual franchise league in those regions, and say, look, maybe you can still be in our partnership league, but you've got to go to APAC and represent Oceania. And maybe that's what's going on right now though, because as Bo says, that organization messing up has basically just turned the whole APAC situation on its head in terms of which organizations are going to get in. So I suppose we'll see about that, and apparently EMEA is still pretty boring and nothing particularly surprising going on in that side of things at all. Did want to mention real quick some of the watch parties here going into Champions. So of course Tarek and Zelsa's having a bit of a back and forth. Now this came out yesterday, the watch parties, the official watch party list for the World Championship. Many names of course you might well expect in here, but some that are missing actually, kind of interestingly enough. Now of course, look, we've got if you go down to the bottom, we've got Shroud, Stewie2k, we'll talk about him in a second, Tarek, of course Sabrosa, this type of stuff, no real surprise. Now of course at the bottom here it does in fairness say and more, right? So they could just add more in at any time, which might happen for some people that have been kind of excluded from this list, some would argue, because Zelsis didn't seem so happy. He says, I think you guys are missing someone. Zelsis not appearing on this list. So I guess right now, he's not allowed to do the Champions Watch Party, which begins in a couple of days. Now, maybe in part of and more, there's more to come here on this list to some degree, but there are many names here, the likes of even Zoms, like Timmy, and people are obviously talking about Sinatraa, even though, at the end of the day, are Riot really going to want to go down that route? I suppose that could be an interesting question to ask and to answer, but so no one of that nature on this list. Maybe they get added under the and more section going forwards, but still a bit of an interesting one, in fairness, that Zelsis was maybe excluded in this way, you could argue. Maybe he's going to come in back again in due course. And as we kind of dive into the Sentinel stuff, wanted to say again, for the second day in a row, Sick was back in business on streams. Good stuff. Of course, we said yesterday, is he now getting back to health? He felt a bit better, I think, on stream maybe the last couple of days, and it's good to see him be back for a couple of days in a row. So hopefully with any luck, as the season progresses, obviously Sentinels can decide what they want to do and maybe have OpTic as part of their program as well going into next season, because that is the key question right now as to what any of these rosters look like next year. Now, Stewie2k actually gives his thoughts on the matter right here, talking about the possibility of him getting on a team going into franchising. Now, he said that he definitely wants to compete, and that is his intention to do exactly that here in Valorant after the CS days didn't really end so positively for him. So that is indeed his plan. Now, where he goes or what opportunities he has, that's a big question right now. He actually says in this clip I'm about to share for you guys that he does have offers. He has multiple offers from different teams that want to bring him onto their roster. Now, look, whether these teams are teams that might get into franchising, that's the question, because if it was a big name squad that had reached out to him, he'd have probably taken the opportunity in a heartbeat if he does indeed want to compete. Then again, you could argue there's other options for Stewie, because obviously he can just stream and make great money doing that way, but if he wants to do like a Shroud route, then he probably can do exactly that.
So many young guns you can teach with their old ass. I mean, I got experience, but it is still a new game, you know? Sheesh! So many of you guys want to see me go pro, for real? Like, I can't be a streamer. You guys won't watch me if I become a streamer? Would you ever consider going pro in Val? Yeah. Yeah, I would. I have a few offers. I'm just deciding if I want to go pro right now, actually. I'm not even capping.
Have you gotten any offers? Okay. Nobody's going to know what the pro scene looks like until franchising is official. I will not have an answer of what my future is until franchising is official. Zelsis won't. TenZ won't. Shaz won't. dapr won't. Because franchising is what dictates the future of this game. So until they announce it, nobody knows what team they're playing on and what their teammates are.
Now, the other clip that I shared there, of course, was from Shroud, where he talks about the Sentinels rumor going forwards, where no one really knows on Sentinels what their future is until franchising is confirmed. Now, in fairness, guys like TenZ and people like that, TenZ is going to stay on Sentinels, like, unless Sentinels doesn't get into franchising, but we haven't heard any rumors that that's not going to be the case, right? We've heard some talk about OpTic, right, and maybe some questions about these teams, but Sentinels, 100T, OpTic, like, you'd think Cloud9, TSM, like, these rosters, should these organizations to be pretty much confirmed to get through there, you would imagine, for next year. Sentinels, like, surely will, given what they've done. Like, the whole Shroud, not exactly a PR stunt, but it was pretty good for PR, all things considered, right, and for impression farming. So Sentinels know what they're doing. I'm sure they'll get a spot in franchising. It'd be crazy if they don't. And therefore, TenZ probably knows his future because he's going to want to stay on Sentinels. They're obviously not going to get rid of him. So therefore, that's probably, like, he probably has a good idea what's going to happen. Shroud, though, interesting question, as with the rest of the guys, because you don't really know what's going to happen with Sentinels. It's not guarantees they get into the franchise side, and they get selected as a partner with Riot going into next season and beyond. So therefore, all of those guys don't really know if they're going to be on Sent or if they're going to have to blow apart and go to another team. So that's Shroud's question mark. The other thing to me is, which teams have been giving Stewie2k offers? Is it any of these teams? Like, I kind of doubt it, but still, it's interesting because squads like version 1 or teams that are just on the border of maybe getting into franchising, they might be saying to Stewie, like, yes, sign a deal with us. We're pretty confident we're going to get into franchising and we're going to go from there. But Stewie's probably thinking, well, hang on a second here, lads. If I sign this deal and you don't get into franchising, I've just got to play in the tier 2 side. Like, Stewie doesn't really, I imagine, want to be playing in the tier 2 scene, grinding all this type of stuff, to then try and make it through Ascension into the Pro League. He'd much prefer just to join a team that's actually going to be in the Pro side anyway. Now, look, is an organization of this caliber, of course, I'm not really sure about EG, but let's say the Guard instead of EG on this list that George comes up with a couple of weeks ago, like, let's say that's the list of teams, because of course they've got to have a couple of teams in Brazil and South America and Latin America as well. So probably 7 teams from North America. It's pretty tough to find a spot on those teams, especially with no experience at the higher level of Valorant, as obviously Stewie2k is relatively new to it, right? So if Stew does really want to make it, I imagine he's going to have to grind through the tier 2 side, unless an org like TSM or something blows up their roster and Stewie2k can finesse a spot. And apparently he's got, well, several offers, he implied, that may indicate that one of these teams that he's got offers from might get into franchising, but that's the thing, maybe he has to take a bit of a punt on it, because if he doesn't accept their offer and then they get to franchising, then obviously every player in the world wants to play for them all of a sudden. So yeah, that's a consideration as well. Definitely enjoy your thoughts on all this in the comment section below. The Sentinels question still lingers on, but we do imagine with Champions just about to start, and the rumors have kind of been emerging that during or shortly after Champions, there should be a very clear plan for which organizations are going to make it through. I think probably right after Champions maybe is when Riot's going to tell the players or tell the teams which which organizations are in partnership effectively. And once we know that, then we can decide what these rosters are going to be. So exciting stuff going forward. Just wanted to look at this as well, actually, here from Willminder, because he comes up with a nice kind of, well, set of statistics on first blood success rate for the players going into Champions. Obviously, some familiar names on this list. But Furia with a couple of guys here as well. I think some have been saying that Furia could be a rather underrated force going into this event. But very much interested your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. Tell us YouTube gods, this is a good video. Others like you should see it as well. And I've grown the competitive Valorant community. Thank you as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.